What's up everybody, welcome back to the Art of Crypto, the birthplace of absolutely legendary gains. In this video we are going to talk about why Solana looks like it's absolutely ready to explode, and I will give you the exact entries and tell you exactly why I think that is the case. So if you want to figure everything out, make sure you stick around to the end of this video. But right before I dive right into it, if you haven't already followed me on Twitter at _the Art of Crypto, you're going to want to do so. Like for example, this video was already shared on my Twitter like earlier, and I'm just talking about so many other things like DeFi and everything. And if you just want the latest market updates, this is where I'm going to be sharing them because it does take quite some time to make a video. So make sure you follow me on Twitter. So Solana, let's dive into like why I think it's going to, absolutely pop off, and it is going to be one of the top performers heading into 2022. Now, what you are seeing right now is that we are on the Solana USDT, like the USD chart basically. And what you can see is that there is not really much that you can make out from the USD chart. Like the only thing that you can see is something like this ascending triangle. And right now we are at the support of this ascending sort of triangle thingy. Usually this is a bullish pattern, and I will get into like another, I'll get into the BTC chart later, but just even on the USDT chart, right, it looks pretty good. This is a really bullish pattern, and you could even enter right here. But by the end of this video, I'm going to give you guys the exact entry that I will be looking at for Solana, if I were to, jump into it. So now that you understand that it's looking bullish, like even just on the 4 hourly on the USD chart, let's dive into, Solana against Bitcoin, and you can see that, this is starting to make a little bit more sense. So if I just go onto the daily chart, you can see that Solana BTC is forming this kind of a pattern, right? And with patterns, right, you only really need 2 touches on each trend line to, validate the pattern. And over here, this is definitely a valid pattern. So already I've drawn out what I think is going to happen. So maybe, right, I'm just going through instinct here because I always like to buy pullbacks rather than FOMOing in at, market basically. And if we look at just Solana against Bitcoin, you can see that, let me just hide this for now. You can see that right here is a daily order block. And what an order block basically is, it's sort of like an area of imbalance, right? It's an area of untapped liquidity that institutions or market makers like to fill back later. And oftentimes you will find that once you are able to successfully identify order blocks and understand the conditions where you should be using order blocks or when you should not be using order blocks, once you understand that, right, oftentimes you will be able to catch the exact bottoms, for many coins. And if that's something you're interested in, I'm going to link a video on the top right hand corner, which talks about just a little basic guide about order blocks, how to spot them and how to use them. And of course, if you want the detailed sort of course, you're going to want to check out the trading course in the private Discord group, but I'm not going to talk about this right now. So after filling in the daily order block, you can see that we're still in this pattern, and right now this is what I think is going to happen. It might not happen, but I just want to give you guys a little bit of explanation as to why I think like this would be my ideal entry. So if you just draw a fib from that swing low over there to that swing high over there, you can see that the 0.618, right, is right here. And right here is what you call a bullish order block, right? Or like just a bullish block where we can place orders. And oftentimes what you will find is during an uptrend, you'll find a higher low formed in this order block right here. And that is going to be between the 0.618 and the 0.705. So that is going to be about, give or take about a 5% to a 7% drop. So we will translate this over to Solana against USD later. For now, we will focus on Bitcoin. And it just so happens, you cannot make this stuff up. If you were to go retest the 0.618 immediately right now, then this is going to be retesting this trend line right here. And, the market makers, they like to leave clues. The sooner you understand that the markets are controlled by market makers and institutions, and try to see what they're trying to do and trade along with them instead of against them, like, man, that is when you're going to start to become really, really successful. Or just at least you won't fail so often. You know what I mean? So right now, like this is going to be the ideal entry basically. So if I were you, I'm going to place a limit order at 35,000 Satoshis and 34,400 Satoshis. I will get into the USD, valuation later, but for now, for Bitcoin, right, I'm going to place limit orders at these 2 levels, and I'm going to set my stop loss beneath, just a tiny bit below the 0.786. So that's going to be at about 33,500 Satoshis. This is going to, assuming that we get, middle entry, just pretty much in the smack dab in the middle, this is going to be a stop loss of, I might even be comfortable placing the stop loss at about 33,000 Satoshis because it's really not too bad. So yeah, it's going to be a 5% stop loss, assuming our entry is right here. And assuming, right, the first TP target is going to be the previous high, which is right here, then this is going to be at the very minimum a 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio trade. And, you know, this sounds pretty good to me. So in the event that something like this happens, right, absolutely take advantage of it. I do believe it's going to be very close to the bottom. And, you know, if you get stopped out, you get stopped out. It means that, you know, this is a false bullish pattern, and, you know, it's probably going to go down. And if that's the case, you get stopped out with a calculated loss. And might I add that, you know, risk management is the single most determining factor that will determine whether or not you get wrecked in this market, or, you know, do you stay in the market long, right? And yeah, I'm not going to get into it there, but, you know, if you just want to build like a proper foundation in your trading, seriously check out the private Discord group. You know, I don't say this for no reason. I try to put my best to providing the most value possible. Over here, you're going to get access to the trading course. And, you know, over here, you're going to get access to all of my trades and all of the market updates that I'm looking at. Basically in real time, you're going to be able to follow along with all of my trades, as well as, you know, pretty much making money literally every single day. Like, watch this. So if this is, you know, what can I say? It's probably going to pay itself off real quick. And, you know, if this is something you're interested in, make sure you check out the link in the description below. For now though, let's get back into Solana against, now that you have a bigger picture of why I think, you know, Solana is going to be bullish heading like in the next 1 to 2 months, right? Once this breaks out, right? By the way, once this breaks out, it is going to go absolutely parabolic, right? If you go look back at Solana, we are very close to all-time highs right now. And we are forming a bullish consolidation pattern that usually, more often than not, once it breaks out of this pattern, it tends to go pretty parabolic. So do not sleep on Solana. I do believe it's going to be one of these hot performers over the next 60 days. And, you know, just to give you a picture of why I think that, you know, assuming that it takes all the way up till the end of January to break out. Once it does break out, you know, it's going to be, let's try to figure out where's going to be, you know, the exact top for Solana. And, you know, we can try to look at the 0.618, you know, we can look at the let's just use the -2 fib extension, right? Or let's just put it smack dab in the middle, right? You've got the 1.272, the 1.131, that's the 2 fib, 2.618. And notice how I'm placing my TP slightly below the fib targets, because, you know, fibs are something that everybody is using. And, you know, if everybody's looking at the same exact levels, doesn't it make sense to take your profit a little bit earlier before they do, right? Take their profit before they take your profit, right? Assuming that it just gets to like the 0.618, which is at about 60,000. You know, yeah, you're pretty much going to get like a 50% pump on Solana, right? Basically putting it to $300 by come February 2022. So I'm calling it, yeah, Solana's looking absolutely bullish. Of course, if this pattern gets invalidated, then I'm going to have to make another video to, you know, explain a little bit about what's the next step. And for now, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but if Solana goes back into this block right here, right? This block, I'm not saying it's going to get hit, but if it does get hit, this is going to be very close to the bottom, right? And if not the bottom, like the absolute bottom for like a swing long, right? If you wanted to, like, if you get it here, right, just hold it for a few months, right? Half a year or a year, you know, it's easily going to 2x, 3x from there, easily. So, and like, again, like most of you in crypto, you guys are spoiled by crypto, right? You see some coins go 5x in like 2 weeks and you think that's the norm. Whereas people in the stock market, for example, just come on, like be patient, you know? I'm giving you like a really good bottom entry and I'm telling you, it's going to be the bottom and, you know, it's likely going to pump from there. So be patient and let the trade play out, right? Don't get too impatient in crypto. Things happen fast enough as in crypto, you know, things happen fast enough as already is. So don't try to rush things. So anyways, the 4 levels to pay attention to is at about 27,800 Satoshis, 26,800 Satoshis, 26,200 Satoshis, and finally 25,500 Satoshis. If you had $1,000 to play with, maybe you could split it up 250 in each portion, right? Just to give you an example of how the dollar cost average. And for me, I would set my stop loss at about 23,600 Satoshis, right? 650 Satoshis, give or take, right? Which is at right beneath this swing low right here. Because if that gets broken, let's just say it's probably going to go lower. You know, it's very bearish. Let's just say that. So now that you understand a little bit more about Solana BTC, let's get back into Solana against USDT. And over here, I have plotted out, right? You don't get as beautiful of, you know, levels on Solana against USD as compared to Solana against BTC. But like, honestly, in this case, I would even just recommend trading against BTC for Solana, right? Because that's where the setup was derived. But if you really wanted to go against USDT, right? So this is going to be the first entry, which is the trendline retest. Well, you could argue that we are already supporting like on the trendline retest right here, but if we were to translate this over to BTC terms, right, this would be about 168, right, which is quote unquote support, and look for a bounce at this area. And then the second entry, like these 4 levels that I've marked out for you guys over here, right? In fact, these 3 levels, right, 138, 128, 116 is going to be the absolute bottom for Solana if we do get it. Like translating from Solana BTC, these are going to be the bottom levels, okay? Like, God forbid we go back to $100, please scoop up some Solana over there, okay? Like, just do it. I don't care how much money you have, but just scoop some Solana up at that level. It's going to be a good level. Not saying it's going to be hit. In fact, I highly doubt it's going to be hit, but if it does, you know what to do. I'm just trying to prepare you guys like 2, 3, 4 months in advance. Of course, I'm still going to make a Solana video probably every 2 weeks or every month, but still, so it doesn't hurt to be prepared. And then I'm going to give you like the another entry as well, which is, you're going to want to mark down this level at $190 right here, right? Or even 187, right? Give or take. Once the price breaks 187, let me just go on to a lower time frame so that I can visualize this for you better. Once the price breaks this level, you're going to want to buy along with the breakout, or you want to buy a retest of that trend line. Okay. Once it starts breaking out, these are the 2 entries. The reason why I would recommend these 2 entries is because you have a very logical place to set your stop loss. For example, right beneath the pattern or right inside the pattern, right? Because if price breaks back down into the pattern or break below the pattern, then it's been invalidated, right? Because a breakout is supposed to break out. It's not supposed to come back down. So you just get stopped out with a minimal loss. So the TP targets for Solana against USD is going to be, right now I'm going to mark them down for you, right? These are personally the levels where I would look to take some of my profit at. And if we just draw a fib from that swing low over there to that swing high, then we can get the all-time high levels for Solana. And you can see, in fact, that it does immediately put us up at, in Solana against BTC. I said that it was going to go to $300. Yeah, that's how you translate a BTC chart over to USD chart. And this is exactly how you do it. So levels are going to be, let me just remove everything. So levels are going to be 200, right? TP targets. If you take the breakout, this could even be a TP target as well. Personally, I'm going to focus more on 200, just saying, something like that. So 196, 204, 220, 228, 242, 25, 260, 270, 287, 303, 324, and the rest is history, right? I don't expect these to be hit anytime soon. So just expect 300 to be really, really strong psychological support. But either way, this looks extremely bullish. So please do not sleep on this. And again, if you want to just follow along with all of the trades, right? The private Discord group is going to be the place to be. You're going to pay it off. I should say it pays off real quick. So with that said, remember to follow me on Twitter, and may the gains be with you, my friend, and peace.